a place for information and talk.
Power 98.7. Now we're talking.
We are indeed talking here, and at this time, look, this is a story that actually caught our attention a couple of weeks ago, but we were unable to get the relevant people to talk to. It's a story that is currently making its way through our courts, and it relates to 3 elephants that are housed at the Johannesburg Zoo. Lami is the name of the one, the other, Momopani, and Ramadiba is the third one. Now, they are living in confined conditions. So this is at least the argument that's been made on behalf of the 3 elephants by the applicants before the court. They're saying that they are living in confined conditions that compromise their mental, emotional, and physical well-being, amounting to a state of significant distress. Elephant experts argue that the confinement in any urban zoo fails to meet the physical, mental, and emotional needs of these highly intelligent and social creatures. So Professor Kristen Stilt from the faculty director of the Brooks McCormick Junior Animal Law and Policy Program, and Dr Macarena Montes Franceschini, a visiting researcher at the Max Planck Institute, have formally applied to join the case as amici curiae, or friends of the court, offering their expertise in animal law and public policy. But joining us on the line this evening is Megan Carr, who is with the Lead Towards Freedom program, which is a part of the Elizabeth Margaret Steyn Foundation. Good evening to you, Megan Carr, and thank you very much for your time at this hour.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you so much. Let's firstly, just to take us a little bit back, if you don't mind, and tell us what actually where we are with this story and what is actually at issue. Because my understanding is that this Joburg Zoo has kept elephants, my goodness, for as long as I can remember visiting the zoo. What is at issue here? Is it about just animals in captivity or specifically these elephants?
Specifically the elephants. We believe the EMS Foundation and Animal Law Reform and Chief Stephen Fritz are the 3 applicants in this matter. And we believe that elephants have no place in a zoo, in confinement in a zoo anywhere in the world. We just don't believe, and we are guided by elephant experts from around the world, that the zoo cannot possibly offer enough space in order for an elephant to be kept and for an elephant then to be healthy. I don't know if you were aware of the elephant in the Pretoria Zoo last year. His name was Charlie, and he was...
Yes, I read about that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. And so we moved him, and we negotiated with the South African government for 4 years to have him removed, and we've moved him to a sanctuary in Limpopo for the same reason, that we just believe that elephants shouldn't be in an enclosure, that they need to be walking and choosing their own food, choosing when they want to eat, etc. They're very intelligent animals, and we don't speak about other animals in captivity. That's not, what we're doing at the moment. We're just concentrating on elephants.
How long have these particular animals, these 3 elephants, been with the zoo? And how long has the battle to get them out been going?
So Lami, the eldest female, was born in the zoo. So she's been in there for 39 or 40 years, a long time. Wow. Exactly. And then when she had a partner who was in the zoo, a male elephant called Kinkle, and he died in 2018. And then we tried to ask the zoo to let Lami go at that point, and they instead made the decision to bring 2 elephants in from the Eastern Cape, Ramadiba and Mopani, and they were elephant-backed safari elephants, so they were used to being mostly in the wild.
Oh, dear. Okay.
Yeah, and so they were brought in to the zoo, and so they've been there since 2019. And we've been asking the zoo actually since 2019 officially to release Lamy, and then this actual court case started. This application started in 2022.
You mentioned Charlie. That was an elephant that was at the Pretoria Zoo. That's correct. Yeah. Now, you did succeed in getting Charlie released. Was that at the last of the ones that they had in Pretoria?
Yes, it was. He was the last bull elephant.
Mm-hmm.
And so what often happens with elephants in captivity is because they can't walk, elephants need to walk hundreds of kilometers a day in order to stay fit and healthy. And they also need to eat particular food to stay healthy. And they need to choose that food themselves. So they know if they need to have whatever they need for their energy, or if they have a sore stomach or whatever, they know what to eat exactly. And that cannot be the same in a zoo, if you know what I mean. Anyway, so he had many partners in the zoo, and they all died prematurely, which is what happens to elephants in zoos, that because they aren't able to choose the food they want to or walk as much as they should, they always die prematurely. Elephants can live up until the age of 70, but very rarely do they live above the age of 45 in a zoo. So, and if they do, then they often have many health issues. So anyway, Charlie was in a circus first and then in the zoo, and he witnessed many of the elephants in the enclosure with them dying prematurely. So he was by himself for a few years before we were able to release him.
What happens when they are released? I imagine that has to be a very managed process as well.
Yeah,
especially an animal that has never lived in the wild before.
Correct. So again, we're guided by experts from all over the world. He has a big team of, first of all, vets that look after his physical health. Then he has a number of other experts that are elephant experts who've studied wild elephant behavior for many, many years that also monitor him. So he was released first into a small enclosure, which is away from the public eye. And then after that, we called it an acclimatization boma. And then he went into a 2-hectare area. And at the moment, he's in a 26-hectare area and is about to be released into a 200-hectare area. And each step has brought with it new challenges for him, exciting challenges. He's learning how to eat for himself. He's learning what it's like to listen to no noise, no human noise, just the noise of the bush. He's learning to what antelope are like, what baboons are like, warthogs, things that he hasn't ever experienced before.
Jeez.
He was removed from the wild when he was 2, and then put into the circus. So he had no knowledge of how to feed himself or how to do a mud bath or all those things that elephants do. So it's a very, very long process, we believe, and we letting him decide how fast he wants to progress. He's doing incredibly well. We have people, as I say, monitoring him all the time to make sure that he's safe, make sure that he's healthy, and that he's happy. And I mean, it's incredible to see an elephant that hadn't had a mud bath for 40 years having his first mud bath. You can imagine, or swimming in the river, or pulling branches off a tree, or standing under the shade of a tree. They don't have that. They don't have that in the zoo, and it's not just our zoos. It's any zoo in the world is not able to replicate, what the wild is like. It's not possible. It's not for an elephant.
So
maybe other animals.
Yeah, are all of these things instinctive? Like the, the mud bath, the ability to do mud bath, and all of these other things. How much of it is instinctive?
It's such a good question, because there wasn't a mud bath available for him in the Pretoria Zoo, and literally the day that he was released from his acclimatization boma, which is 2 weeks after he got to Limpopo, he went into 2 hectares, and in the 2-hectare area, we had built a mud bath for him and a big watering hole. and he went into that mud bath and he drilled his huge tusks into the mud and then covered himself in mud. And that is not something he would have ever seen. So that's got to be instinctive.
Yeah.
And I promise you that there were all of this huge team of experts were all had tears in their eyes, because it was showing us that instinct is still there. Even after 40 years, that instinct to be wild is still there. It was
remarkable.
Yeah.
Let's just reflect on what the Joburg Zoo's position is in all of this. They're saying that the elephants receive adequate care and attention. They also claim that the groups such as yourselves are driven by ideology rather than concern for the animals' actual welfare. But it doesn't. It sounds as if public sentiment is maybe very much against the zoo at this stage. I mean, why would they be inclined to want to hold on to these animals despite the better advice? And is it purely about for their own selfish commercial reasons? That they still want to have elephants to show off in the zoo.
Well, I mean, if you look at zoos around the world, if you think about it, the elephant is the biggest creature, species that they would have on show. So obviously you would like to have those big elephants. They are a draw card. I mean, that is understandable if you're running a commercial business. We don't agree with them, obviously. The other reason that they do give is they say that it's an opportunity for the underprivileged to be able to see an elephant up close. We understand what they're saying, and I have a problem, and this is really personally. I wouldn't want my child to stand and watch an elephant that's compromised, and we believe they're compromised. I would rather my child look, even if they can't afford to go to the Kruger National Park, that they rather would look at a documentary at school or on their phones where they see animals in the wild as they should be. I don't think it's good enough to show underprivileged children animals that are compromised. I think our country should be making sure that every child in South Africa is given the opportunity to go to the Kruger National Park. I think that should be part of the education. I don't believe it's a good enough excuse to show an elephant in a zoo. That's my very personal opinion. And obviously the zoo will disagree with that. But I don't just believe that we have an ideology. We have got so many experts that look at an elephant and look at how long they should live for and how they should be behaving. We don't believe that those elephants look happy in that zoo. And it's the same at any zoo, anywhere in the world. We're not just pointing a finger at Johannesburg Zoo at all.
Yeah, and I think that is important to point out. So, I mean, from your point of view then, Megan Carr, is there a future for zoos? I mean, are they still relevant? I mean, we have long gotten past the stage of animals in circuses and all of that. That's accepted. We never, that it took some time, but we got there.
Yeah.
Where are we with zoos?
Well, I must tell you, I spent a lot of time in Pretoria Zoo and in Joburg Zoo, a lot of time, because I'm the lead on the program. They are the two most beautiful places in terms of rolling lawns, gardens,
absolutely
safe spaces. I have watched elderly people visit the Joburg Zoo. They jump off, or they walk off the buses, they walk into the zoo, and they sit down on that grass, and they sit in groups, chatting amongst each other, having tea and sandwiches in a safe space where maybe they don't have gardens at home. To me, those properties, both the Pretoria Zoo and the Joburg Zoo, should be encouraged as safe, beautiful spaces to visit for all kinds of things like that, where children can run around and people can have a braai or a picnic and not be worried their cars are safe, all they've got there with public transport. They can enjoy a whole day in a place that is just magnificent, beautiful old trees. It's just gorgeous. And that is what they should be encouraged as, is places of peace and tranquility and fun for everybody. I mean, they do organize events at both Pretoria and the Joburg Zoo, and they're very well attended. I don't know how much the animals are the draw card anymore, to be honest with you, you know?
Yeah, so they've, even as part of the business model, that is, even the jury is out on whether that's a thing still.
Yeah, correct.
Okay. So just in terms of the court case then, where are we now? Where do things go from here?
Okay. So the Joburg Zoo doesn't want to have the two amicus curiae intervening. They're trying to stop that. So the court president will make a decision on that on the 2nd of September, and then we're hoping that he will also give us a date for the final hearing. So we've got 2 months literally to when we will know where we're standing. So perhaps we should speak again after that, and I'll be able to give you an update.
That would be great. I think we will do a follow-up. Thank you so much, Megan Carr.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
She is the lead of the Towards the Freedom program, which is a part of EMS, that is the Elizabeth Margaret Steyn Foundation.